Oh. Hello, fuckers. Welcome to a special episode of Basement Quality Banter, episode 29. Just a warning, you might not want to play this in the car with the kids. As you may see if you're watching, I have Angus and our special guest, Lockie,
Yo.
from Fresh as Fucking Fuck. Hi, Angus. Hi, Lockie.
Hey, Ricky,
man.
how you doing, mate?
So, what we're here tonight is to talk about this FAFF number one IPA, which I'm about to crack for the first time.
Oh, baby. I'm on my seventh can for the night.
Yeah, nice. 7.2%. That that's a pretty good effort. And
No, I'm
pouring it
kidding.
into a wine glass because
Yes,
that's what you do.
that's right. You got one
Oh,
too, Angus?
Yeah, I got one as well.
You ripper.
I've actually busted out my old Spiegler butt plug glass.
the
Don't
butt plug glass. Is that what they
butt
call
glass.
them?
That's what I call it.
Looks
Yeah.
like you've cleaned it, man, since you last used it. So that's good.
Oh wow,
It's way too thin for that rubbish.
the nose on that is amazing.
Yeah, you dig?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
it's cool.
oh gorgeous. I was reading on the can, and by the way, I love the fact that you've put uh, the grain bill and the hop weights no kettle hops, so IBU's quite low, and I was really surprised to see that. But that means the hops coming in later in the beer really get a chance to stand out. So I thought that was a really cool addition to put on the can as well.
Yeah, thanks, man. I think I was always really passionate about that, being like a young pup brewer back in like 2010 or whatever. And like I remember Stone Brewing always had their
Yep,
like OG and FG on
yep,
their big bottles, the big bombers they did. And I thought it was so cool. And so like I think well, we carried that through obviously through ballistic, and like I always had quite detailed recipe info on the tins just because I thought it was cool and interesting and not very hard, and I
yep.
don't have anything to hide, right? So did that, and then I figured with this I might as well take it a step further and yeah, like put obviously percentages of grains and grams per liter about hop additions, etc. I did kind of shoot myself in the foot a little bit where I had to actually order 4 batches worth of cans in one go to get any economy of scale.
Yep.
So I've had to design 4 beers and nail the FG and OG and ABV and everything. If I want to tweak the recipe, I can't really now. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's kind of lent in, but
And that
yeah.
you just did print on can, was it?
Yeah, so
Yeah,
through Unpack, just
yeah,
those like direct digital print.
yeah. It's the way to go these days. So
I was
how
lucky.
did it? Yeah, you go.
I was reading one of your posts on ballistic, and it was one of the early ones. I was talking
Mm,
about how you see fermentation as I don't know, as the real hero of making beer. So
mm.
even though you're putting recipe on the can and grain percentages and hops, that's just the raw ingredients, right? It's 50% of the puzzle. The other 50% is fermentation.
Yeah, oh, look, couldn't agree more. I don't remember writing that post, but it definitely sings to my philosophy around brewing. Like I always find when I've been training brewers over the year, everyone's like, "Oh, the brew house," But we've always said, you can make the best wort in the world and fuck it up in the cellar. You can make average wort and still make amazing beer. So I think, probably got some old war stories about some average wort that we made at times. Actually, we had a broken jacket on a mash on no, not a mash on a kettle once, and so we ended up boiling. We had to brew, so we boiled in the hot liquor tank after we'd sparged and emptied it and boiled in there. And I think we won a silver medal for that beer. So like work quality is important and I don't want to diminish that, but yeast makes beer and we don't, right? You guys are brewers, you get it. Like it's about healthy yeast and good cellar practices. That's what makes great beer. So
Yeah, cold side is king.
shit,
So
yeah.
how did FAF come about? Tell us the story of FAF.
Yeah, like it was a really so I've been out of brewing professionally for about 3 years, 3.5 years. And like I've always had this sort of creative itch. Like all I've done is brewing pretty much all my adult life. I worked some bottle shops straight out of school, did 3 months of chef's apprenticeship, and then I've been a commercial brewer ever since. So like leaving that and not making beer anymore was kind of a hard transition, like just from a creative outlet perspective. So I got into distilling at home a bit, did that for a few months, and then like just always
essential oil making.
no proper hooch moonshine. Yeah. I've got nothing to hide. Yeah. Take me down, cops. Yeah.
Find me first. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. But so, like, I love beer, and I'm obviously so passionate about fresh beer, and I just hate spending money on, I don't know, old beer, like really good money. Like you've spent $35 on a 4-pack of something, and it's been sitting on the shelf warm for 6 months, and it's just a pile of trash. It was probably a great beer when it was packed, but I think there's inherently like the system's broken around distribution of hoppy beers in Australia, particularly because of our, geography and, not very dense population. But I think worldwide there's issues with fresh hoppy beers, and, you get Sierra Nevada Pale, which is an amazing beer, or Torpedo or whatever. Drink that in, I don't know, LA, and it's been transited and not stored cold or whatever. And it's just not that amazing, right? Like it ages, and these beers are just not made to travel. So something that I've always been passionate about through my early career, and I don't know, I just wanted to do something else. So it's just a dumb idea. I'm going to make this. I had a different name to start with, and a mate of mine, Tom, actually came up with this FAFF thing. He's like, fresh as fucking fuck. And I was like, because I'm kind of faffing around as well. It's not my real job. It's just kind of for fun. So yeah, that sort of took off, and it's got a kind of gives the brand a little bit of attitude, I guess, and says that we're about it. It gives you something to talk about. So last Christmas, I think I made a website and did some like paid advertising on Instagram and Facebook, and I ended up getting 30 people on the subscriber list, and then never really did anything with it. Just kind of got busy with Well Brewed and just sort of let it slide. And then this year I just kind of had that itch again. I was like, fuck it, let's just go all in. So I just did, and just like started organizing to make beer and putting it out there to the world. I think I put a post on Beer Barons, and then that kind of got some momentum. Like, oh fuck, people actually might want me to do this, or might be interested in this. So did that, and then it just released this batch of beer last week or this week. It started hitting people's lips, and it's been a wild ride.
Oh, it's a cracker of a drop. I really, you can't taste the ABV's not there. It's just it's well balanced, and it's full, but it's just so easy drinking. It's an absolute lovely drop.
Thanks, man.
So it's well brewed.
Well brewed, yeah. So speaking of Well Brewed, you're still with Well Brewed doing consultancy for building breweries and everything?
Yeah. So that's my actual real job. So Clemmy and I, most people watch this probably know Clemmy. He's a bit of a celebrity, particularly Queensland brewing. But yeah, so we're still running that, doing a lot of equipment design and manufacture now, building breweries, and having fun doing that. But it's a bit hard just being out of the brewery, obviously. But still doing that full time. That's what pays my wage. This is what I spend all my money on.
This is the passion project.
Keeps me poor. Yeah.
Is Well Brewed like with so many breweries sort of going under and not too many opening up? Is it a really tough situation that Well Brewed's in at the moment? Like people aren't really expanding. A lot of them are actually downsizing and things like that at the moment. Or you're not seeing that?
Yeah, we are. We're still pretty close to the industry. I think there's a lot of people struggling out there. But you know what? There's still stuff happening. I think people realize that through these downturns, that's where there's opportunity. Look at the guys that are really kicking off, Mountain Culture, Rocky Ridge, these sort of guys that are like, I guess, were doing well before it all went to shit, but obviously we're running a really nice back of house, making great beers, had great brands. Like these are the guys that were running a good business that now can take advantage of these opportunities. And it sucks to see your mates, having a hard time of it. And, Luke, we were talking about, before we hit record, we've both been through some hard times with breweries and VAs, etc. So it's not, it's hard to watch, but there's still stuff happening. I think from my perspective, I think the industry is transitioning a bit, like from that mid-tier, mid-size distribution model, I think is kind of dying. I think that, honestly, when they put their excise rebate up to 350K, it killed that sort of 1 to 2 million litre brewery, or maybe 500,000 to 2 million litre brewery in Australia, because all of a sudden all the brew pubs can now pay contract canners to come in, pack their beer locally and have other local beer out in trade cheaper than you can do it as someone who's paying excise. So I think that was kind of the start of it. COVID happened, and then now I think there's like the big guys, the Bolters, Pirate Lifes of the world, Mountain Cultures, etc. And then there's brew pubs, which is my favourite model anyway. I think it's best for beer, it's best for people, it's best for community, promotes the right things about drinking beer. So I think that's where the growth space is. There's every town that's got a population of 50,000 people, 20,000 people can support a brew pub or two. Yep. So I think there's still massive growth for that. It's just that in a different way to what it was previously.
Yeah, I think the model back to that hyper-local community pub that, does the raffles and the local sporting team sponsorship and things like that, I think that's where we're really getting back to, and let the big guys do their thing over there, and we'll support this smaller, independent, fresh, sort of model. I think that's the way a lot of businesses are turning to. We were just saying on the podcast a couple of weeks ago, Padre, Mitch is opening up a brand new site in Miami, going from scratch, which we can't believe, and they have they don't want to sell their beer outside of their doors.
Yeah,
and it's crazy, it's a great model.
Yeah, I've got a mate who's just opened Ripple Brewing in Beaconsfield in Perth, just out of Freo. And he actually bought the first well brewed brew we ever made. But for whatever reasons, it's been sitting in storage for a couple of years. He opened just their soft launch weekend before last. It was only to email subscribers, really small, no one really knew about it. And they just got fucking slammed like the whole weekend. It was just packed to the rafters the whole time. And they're like, fuck, so I think there is desire. There's still a market for that style of brewery. But it's just the industry's changing, right? So
it's great to hear.
Did the eventual size of Ballistic kind of draw you away from your fresh is best approach and experimental batches that we saw with Sleep When You're Dead? That kind of fresh is best, and that seems to be a kind of a common theme that I was reading in certainly quite a few of the blog posts on Ballistic and some of the interviews.
Yeah, oh man, look, it did, and sadly, there was pressures to grow for a number of reasons. Like I was only a small shareholder as well. There was 13 people that owned that business back then. And I was not on the board. And so I had my ideas and I was kind of the face of what we were doing, but there's a lot going on behind the scenes. When we started canning beer, we put 12-week best before dates on all of our beers, and we would manage stock levels within like 2 weeks. And just like, it was fucking tough, man. I spent all my time production planning and you just kind of have to suck up that sometimes you're out of stock of stuff, right? So back then, you go in the tap room and every beer on tap, we would taste every week. Like Jake and I'd be out there every Tuesday at 9 a.m. We would taste all 18 taps, 20 taps, whatever it was. If something wasn't tasting great, we'd pull it off, we'd fuck off that keg and we'd put something else on or put on a fresh keg, etc. So we were really diligent with that. Sleep When You're Dead was kind of an extension of that, or I guess maybe an exaggeration of that, where we had that 8 week, we'd kill the beer, buy it back if it was still around. But as we grew, man, like things changed. You go into Dan Murphy's, they need X amount of weeks best before, that when you've got 12 weeks, even though it's still got technically the same amount, it needs to have, whatever percent. I can't remember all the rules around it, but we got forced our hand going to distribution centers, and then this card, it was 6 months, then it was 9 months, then it was 12 months. And it's like, well, this is kind of the price you pay of growth. And so, yeah, it was disappointing from my perspective, obviously, but then again, you're seeing, a brand like Hawaiian Haze go into 2,000 stores nationally, which is also kind of cool. So it was like this bittersweet thing, I guess.
100%. I know I was talking to David Kitchen at one stage, and he wanted to open a new venue every year that they were operating. And I was like, what? That was his plan. Yeah. And he didn't buy a Lamborghini because he bought a centrifuge, and he didn't buy a Maserati because he bought this. And
that was a good centrifuge, man.
It was good. Yeah.
Way too big. It was a good bit of kit.
Yeah. Look, it's really sad. I'm glad the brand's still around in the skeleton it is, but like you said, it's sad how much time and effort. I heard that when David found you in London, he put you in the cool room in the middle of that ammunition shed for 6 months to come up with ingredients or something like that. Is his version of the story? Is that anywhere near you?
It's not my recollection of it. I do remember I did spend probably 6 months in that brewery by myself. It was an empty shed with a massive cool room and a 200-litre homebrew kit, putting together the original core range, which was kind of fun. But I remember actually having a conversation with him early days, and he'd be like, what sort of beers are we going to brew? And I'm like, who fucking cares? Making good beers, the easiest thing we'll do in this whole business. I'm like, what's our brand? Who are our customers? How are we going to talk to them? That shit's so important. And we're talking about businesses that aren't doing so well now. I think, back in the day when you're riding the wave, you could just make pretty good beer and that'd be enough, and put a brewery in a shed and off you go. I think the market, I think customers have matured. Consumers, expect a little bit more from a hospitality offering. And
I didn't open a second can. Keep going.
So look, I don't know. I think that's why some of the people that rode that wave at the back end probably aren't doing so well, because it's, like I say, just having stainless steel in a warehouse with, a food truck is just maybe not, exactly what punters want anymore. So
we've been educated as a conglomerate, an industry. I think everyone knows what to expect and what to pay for things now, and maybe what goes into it more so. So before you went to London, you were brewing in WA. Did you really like, seeing people CIP all day? Is that what got you into brewing? What was the draw to brewing?
It was funny actually how I got into it, man. I always really liked beer. I thought beer was cool. I worked in kitchens growing up, as a dish pig, and the chefs always drank James Squire's Amber Ale and Orangi Boom and stuff that was kind of different and no one had ever heard of. And I grew up on a vineyard actually, so I was all around wine and grapes, and spent all my childhood winters pruning grapes and getting strong grip strength. But working in bottle shops, and I went in the International Beer Shop, which was one of the first bottle shops in Australia that was importing all the cool stuff from Europe. Excuse me. And I was talking to the guy behind the counter, and I said, how'd you get because I worked at Liquorland at the time.
Yep.
And I was like, how do you get a job at a cool bottle shop like this? And he's like, well, I moved to Perth and I thought of something I liked, which was beer. And I started typing that into Seek every day. And I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool. So I went home and I started doing that every week. I just go and type beer into Seek, see what came up. This assistant brewer's job came up at Gage Roads. And so I just applied for it, with no real thought that anything had come of it. And then rocked up to this interview with Aaron here. He had my Liquorland red polo on and my dress pants, because I was off to work afterwards.
Yep.
And then somehow I jagged a job. I don't know how. I think because I was willing to work 12-hour night shifts for 35 grand a year.
Yeah.
And so just did that. And it was really tough way to start. Like everyone was working hard. We were doing like, I don't know, it was 14 million litres a year on a fully manual 50 hect brew house, working 24/7. Like it was brutal back then, but really rewarding. But a lot of people couldn't hack it and they just fell off like flies. And I just stuck around because I was young and had no idea what I was doing. I just liked the idea of being a brewer. So just did it. And then, it was ended up being team leader in like 9 months and then worked my way through all the departments there. And so, yeah, that's kind of how that kind of happened, but just stuck at it, man.
That's fantastic. And we highlight WA a lot. The market there really seems to be really positive compared to maybe the East Coast. We see, venues opening and Eagle Bay and Rocky Ridge and Found and some of the breweries there are really doing amazing stuff. Other side and there's usually not a pod that we do that we're not mentioning an event or a collaboration that's happening in WA. Bustleton's probably one of my favourite places over there to visit, and now they've got shelter at the end of the pier there, which is amazing. So I think WA, its isolation is somehow working in its benefit when it comes to the small craft industry, I guess.
Yeah, I might be biased with this because I actually went to school in Busso.
Yeah, there you
So I know it quite well, but like from my perspective, like being isolated is part of it, but I think the consumer are different over there because craft beer has been around for so long. Like WA is the heart of craft beer, like the original craft breweries in Australia, like the
little
Salad Anchor.
creatures and yeah.
Well, Salad Anchor was a brew pub in the 80s, man. Like
Yeah.
Matilda Bay, Little Creatures, Feral. Like,
Feral.
think about Little Creatures Pale Ale. Like, what the fuck was that back then? Like, Cascade hop flowers in the hop back.
Yeah.
Like this hoppy. Everyone's like, what the fuck? This smells like flowers. Like, yeah, Like,
that was my gateway beer into craft beer, Little Creatures. I had a friend in Sydney. She messaged me. She's like, "Oh, you're into beer, aren't you? Try this Little Creatures one." And I'm like, got a bottle. I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, it was like
you're drinking
Redback
4X and VB and all those things.
Yeah.
Like, whoa, this has like flavor.
Yeah.
It's wild, eh? But like, and then you think about the brands that have come out of there and, Feral, Gage Roads, they're now second biggest independent brewery in Australia after Cooper's, like fourth biggest like brew plant or something. Like, it's crazy, man. But so much cool stuff going on there. But I think, even when I was growing up, when I was like in my late teens, like craft beer was around when I first started going to the pub. Like Feral White was there. It was like a Belgian wheat beer. Like we'd go and drink pints of Feral White with my mates. Like that was us as 18-year-olds. It wasn't, 4X or whatever. Like even moving to Brisbane when I did in like 2015 to start Ballistic, like I just felt like craft beer had this energy of like a really excited like teenager who's just sort of hit puberty. It's like fucking, there's so much cool shit. Because back then there was Fortitude, Green Beacon, Newstead. I don't know if there was much else, And so like it was exciting. Like it was, but back in WA it was just kind of like normal. Feral Hop Hog was on tap at every pub in Perth. Little Creatures was on at every pub. Like you could just go and there was good options. Whereas you're kind of like starting from scratch in Queensland, which is kind of cool and exciting. That's why I really enjoyed the journey of being a part of that in Queensland. But that's why, I guess, getting back to your original point, that's why I think like WA is so strong now, because it's almost like the second or third generation of brewers and consumers that are so ingrained that, craft beer is just, it's just normal, It's like almost like San Diego or something. So
yeah. Or Portland or something, even getting to those states. Like, like Blaster is fantastic over there too. There's just so many great, and we don't like. I was in Perth for the Indies. Must have been 2 years ago, and I got to see Reese and what they were doing there, and just the freshness, and we just sort of don't see it over on the. It's too hard to get it over here. It's Too isolated.
Yeah, 100%.
So
Sounds like a road trip.
it does sound like a road trip. We'll do a
I don't know, flying trip, bugger driving.
Oh, it's a 5-hour flight, domestic flight, I think.
Yeah, it's bullshit.
So, what's next with FAFF? What are we expecting to see with FAFF coming up?
Yeah, so so my line is all IPAs all the time. So all we brew is IPAs, right? Kind of just it's on brand, making a point, right? But it highlights the freshness piece.
Yeah.
But so we'll release something else for Christmas. Depending on how this batch goes and what the reception's like, it may be a double release.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, it's sold out in 2 days, right?
It's amazing,
especially before Christmas.
So I think that's kind of half the plan at the moment. We're sort of sitting and seeing what the reception's like on this beer. I mean, I really like it, but you just never know. Like I've drank it every day for the last 3 weeks from, when it first went into tank. Like I'd go in the brewery and fucking taste it. And I took a keg camping away on the weekend just now. And so now it's out in trade. I'm sort of like, anxious to hear what everyone's thoughts are, but I know it really well. I almost like desensitized to it because I've drunk so much of it now. So, but yeah, that's kind of the plan. We'll get, a couple of batches out for the end of the year, hopefully, as a dual release. And then, see where we go from there, man. But we're not going to take over the world.
Like quarterly to keep the hype up and sell it out sort of thing? Or is that sort of...
the idea was quarterly.
Yeah.
I'd like to grow volume a little bit.
Yep.
And I'd like to...
would you ever keg it?
It's tough. Maybe on a special occasion, like maybe I'd do like an Adelaide venue or Melbourne venue and like overnight at cold or something.
Yep.
But it becomes hard to manage, and because you want it gone in a week, you'd probably do 20s or 30s.
Yeah.
I've toyed with it.
Something that's going to hype it up and sell it through really quick. Yeah.
Just fucking get it gone on a weekend and that's it. Like that would be kind of the idea. But yeah, no plans to do that as yet. Probably need to find some good partner venues and people that are aligned with what we're doing. And so, yeah.
I know a mate who has got an indie pub up here in the valley. Actually, he's just taken over it as a group, and they only do indie taps. And he did send me a message today, cranky, that I have my FAFF cans before he got his FAFF cans. So.
Wicked.
I'm sure
I think everyone in Queensland's cranky, man. I've seen a few comments about that. Get a few text
sorry,
messages.
everyone. Express post. Sorry, but we
needed it for the pod.
We wanted to talk to Lachy on the pod, but that's the only reason. I'm not special in any way. I've still bought mine. So have you got anything else, Angus?
I've only got a little bit of a side story. I don't know if you want to use it for marketing or not. Many years ago, my mates and I sat down, obviously over beers, and we tried to think of a sentence that would cram in as many swear words as possible. And it really ties into your brand. So the sentence we came up with was, fuck it, the fucking fucker's fucked. So I don't know if you're going to tie that into your marketing at some point, or
can you do a clip of that? I'll stick it on Insta.
Yeah,
right. Yeah.
No. Mate, I'm and all the social media love, other brewers that you've worked with, people who've known you in the industry, so many people, even Joss from Hop On Brewery Tours, and lots of friends up here in southeast Queensland are really cool to see this and jump on board. I don't know. Do you know how many beers you sent like to different parts of the country? Is there a certain bit that felt like you were sending more off to, or?
Yeah, Queensland and WA were hotspots. I don't know the exact numbers. I haven't run that report. I haven't had time. I've been at Mars hanging out, trying to get hundreds, it's actually 1,000 cans of beer in the post or something. So that was pretty.
That's amazing.
Full on. But Queensland, WA. There was a fair bit locally, like SA, where I am, but probably not as much. And then like a few bits and pieces, New South Wales, Victoria, 1 or 2 in Tassie. But yeah, mostly I would say WA, Queensland, probably equal Like,
I don't know of a beer brand that I can remember that sold so much and had so much hype without anyone even trying the beer. I really can't.
yeah,
So
cool.
that just shows faith in you and what you do, and the person you are and how you've influenced other people and other brewers. So thank you so much again for jumping on the call.
No,
Um,
thank you,
you
man.
can see us on YouTube and listen to us in your car without your kids over the next couple of days, obviously. Um, it's an absolute cracker. Can't wait to see how this goes. And thanks for fucking jumping on the potty.
Sick one. Thanks, legends. Thank you so much.
Cheers, mate.
Thanks, Lucky. See you, mate.
See you, bye.